My name is Ira Weissman. I'm a partner in the law firm of Obedin and Weissman. We are located in central Islip in Suffolk County, New York. A large part of what we do is DWI defense. I've been practicing for 30 years on the defense side, and I've had occasion to try 30 to 40 DWIs, and I've handled hundreds of them in my career. If you need help with a DWI, it's important to hire somebody who has experience in not only handling the matters, but trying them, because they can best help you if, unfortunately, you've been charged with DWI in New York. I am often asked, what happens if I refuse to take the chemical test if I'm arrested for a DWI in New York? And this is a really important question because in all the DWIs that I handle, I probably handle more refusals, as we call them, than those cases where somebody submits to the test. And there's a tremendous consequence to a person who's arrested for DWI and refuses. First, I'll state that when you're asked to submit to the test, the officer has to tell you what those consequences are. And they are basically two things. The first is that it's going to possibly end up with your license being revoked for a year. And the second is that your refusal to submit to a chemical test can be used against you in court should the case go to trial. So in other words, if the case goes to trial, a jury will hear that you refuse to submit to the chemical test, and they can consider that in deciding whether you refuse to submit to the test because you feared that the result of the test would be in violation of law. And then what happens after you're arrested and refuse a chemical test is that your license is immediately suspended at your arraignment, pending a hearing with the Department of Motor Vehicles. And at that hearing, the arresting officer will show up and testify that I arrested this person for DWI. This is what happened. I brought them back to the precinct. I explained to them the consequences of taking the test that I was asking them to take, and they refused. If an administrative judge at the Department of Motor Vehicles finds that you refuse that chemical test, most often a breath test or a blood test, that will result in a year revocation of your license and surcharges that have to be paid to the Department of Motor Vehicles. So the result of refusal is serious. The consequences of refusing the chemical test are serious. And it may be that might help you down the road, but you have to understand that if you're arrested for DWI and you refuse, there will be consequences that will be important as the case proceeds forward. So if you've been arrested in New York for driving while intoxicated, call us. We are available 24/7 to answer your call and to answer your questions. And if you're under arrest or a loved one is under arrest, we will be there for you the next day to help you.